Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back to review another episode of CBS's Big Brother Season 18, episode number 35, so let's just get down to it. Are you guys ready? Here goes. I am looking forward to two different things in the final few episodes. Number one, I want to see a jury segment when Michelle enters that house because I know that Michelle is going to throw shade at Paul, and I can't wait until Michelle is reunited with Davon and Zakiya and even Bridget, because they're all going to have a good time because the girls seem to be having a great time. Paulie is the one that's kind of left out. Kind of, sort of, but the girls are just like, he's here, whatever. But anyways, the second thing I'm looking forward to in the next couple episodes is the moment when Nicole and Corey go up against Paul and Victor. I'm ready. I'm so ready for that. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to pop some popcorn. I'm going to lean back and I'm going to go, But anyways, as far as the episode goes, the HOH competition was called Down on the Farm. Corey pretty much threw the HOH competition. I'm not surprised because of the fact that Corey doesn't want to do any heavy lifting. And why should he? He really doesn't have to. James and Natalie found out that Michelle was going home before she was evicted. Like, they literally found out from the horse's mouth. I'm not really calling Nicole a horse. I'm just saying it's a figure of speech. But anyway, Nicole said that the reason why Michelle was going home is because she did not talk to her. But to me, it wouldn't have mattered because Michelle's eviction was pretty much a done deal. And Nicole and I guess Corey, they both know that if they keep Paul, then Paul will come for Natalie and James. Now, this is what they were thinking beforehand. This is when James and Natalie realized that Nicole flipped on them and they are super worried. And Natalie is the main reason why Michelle campaigned at the last. Because if you remember, James acted as though Paul was going home and that James knew that Paul was going home. And I'm just like, James, you don't know anything about who's going home. You need to get it from the horse's mouth. So pretty much Michelle confronted Corey, asking him about her fate in the game at this point, and Corey acted like he didn't know. That whole thing of Corey saying that he had to do what Nicole wanted him to do, and Nicole saying that she had to do what Corey wanted to do in relation to whether or not they should evict either Paul or Michelle was extremely foolish because they both got caught in a lie and Michelle could see through that lie, and I'm almost about to drop my notes, but she could see through the lie because she's just like, listen, Paul is a huge threat. Paul and Victor started from the bottom, now they're here. They have all this power, like, now is the time to get them out. But unfortunately, Nicole and Corey felt like Michelle was a bigger threat. And I feel like in this season, season 18, this is the season of people getting people out of the house that aren't really threats. So I can't say that I'm too surprised that everything has turned out the way that it has. So now, all of a sudden, James needs to win an HOH after throwing a crap load of HOHs. This is why I have said, and will say, and will continue to say, even as I watch the new season of Survivor, that throwing competitions in both Big Brother and Survivor is a bad idea, because when it is time for a person to win a competition after throwing, 9 out of 10 times they don't end up winning that competition, and they end up in a pretty sticky situation, and James is in a very sticky situation at this point. And those eagles that kept like falling down from above the players in the chicken coops were trying to crack the eggs. And I think in my last review, or in fact, was it my last review? Yeah, I said that the eagles were trying to steal the eggs. No, they were trying to crack the eggs. Although in a previous season, I remember that in that competition, it wasn't exactly like this whole like back to the farm competition with the chicken coops, but it was something along the lines of this competition, and Big Brother had something that was like snatching the eggs or balls out of the people's hands. I remember that, and that whole situation was too funny, by the way. So Corey ends up being a half, obviously, and Nicole is upset that he didn't try to win HOH because, in her eyes, the perception of that move is that they are sitting comfortably. However, she didn't have a problem with Corey doing that before, so he got comfortable and he decided, I don't need to win HOH. Let Paul or Victor do it. And Nicole says, you can never be too comfy playing Big Brother. I always say that. I've been saying that even before I started doing these Big Brother reviews, that these players cannot be too comfortable because it always ends up backfiring on them. So at one point, Victor and Natalie were neck and neck in the competition. Then Corey, Natalie, and Victor basically knocked, I think, the same letters down, or the same 2 letters down anyway, and Paul was happy that James kept messing up. Nicole was basically rooting for everybody but James and Natalie, and it seemed like Natalie was going to win, and then out of the blue, Victor pulled off yet another win, his 3rd HOH, and his 9th competition win. Now on a side note, in regards to the last HOH, not this one, but the Loch Ness Monster one, I had a conversation with someone on Twitter who was adamant that Victor did not throw that competition, and they had to give me a lesson all about how that competition was better suited for people who are shorter and such and such and such. Like, this is not my first rodeo. I've been watching this show since season 1. So I do know that shorter players do have a better advantage when it comes to those wall competition that go forward and backwards, yes. But after Paulie jumped down, Victor jumped down. Victor didn't even really try as hard as he could have, and I don't blame him for it, because Victor felt like he was safe. So there was no reason for him to even try to win that HOH, despite the fact that for a minute he wasn't really safe. But still, I don't blame him. So back to this review. Now, James is upset because he knows that he's a target, and he calls Victor's win the worst case scenario, and Nicole thinks it's the best case scenario, of course, because she's safe. She has no reason to doubt Paul and Victor, although I kind of wish that Paul and Victor did kind of turn on her and Corey, but I guess you can't get everything that you want now, can you? So considering that Nicole kept Victor safe and Corey gave Victor $5,000, Vic and Corey are pretty much safe. Natalie and James are in big trouble, and Victor says that his win is perfect. He is unevictable, and now he can show Nicole and Corey how much he trusts them. And he said that the final 4 is rocking the Big Brother house, and they are. Victor tells Paul, Corey, and Nicole that it's time that one of us wins this veto so that James can't save himself. Natalie and James just cannot believe that Victor won that HOH. I don't know why, because Victor is a competition's beast. If Victor wants to win something, Victor will win it. And this whole situation is a worst case scenario in Natalie and James's eyes. And Nicole said that Natalie pulls out weird wins. In other words, what Nicole is trying to say is that Natalie wins when she wants to win. If you guys interpreted that differently, definitely let me know in the comment box below. And without James, Natalie will crumble. That's what they think. But I want to see what Natalie does without James, though. They better watch out for that one. Paul says that Meech is rude and disrespectful. I'm thinking that he's going to talk about something that she said. Nope. It's all about Pablo. Pablo. In case you guys don't remember who Pablo is, the inner tube thingy with the duck on it. Yep, that's Pablo. And Big Brother is too funny by giving Pablo a goodbye message from Paul and making this whole graphic that looked like Pablo had, or he was a member of the Big Brother house and made his picture go dark. I'm wondering why Big Brother couldn't give Paul back Pablo. That's a good question. But Paul really looks depressed without Pablo. Paul and Victor are happy. They said everything that they say will happen, happens. And Paul and Victor have this final 2 deal. They call themselves the Sitting Ducks, and they've had that final 2 deal since day 1. And they are planning to stay in this game. Now, the boys, meaning Paul, Victor, and Corey, get on Nicole because Nicole's from a small town that had small class sizes, and that whole segment was too funny. Natalie speaks the truth when she says to James, we never should have made that final deal with Nicole and Corey. We betrayed Paul and Victor. And James is just like, you can't cry over spilled milk. Which is true, but at the same time, James seems so sure that he could trust Nicole. On a side note, if I remember correctly, I could have sworn that while I was reading social media, because for those of you that don't know, I was volunteering this weekend, so I was checking like Twitter and Tumblr when I could, and I saw where it seemed like Natalie was the target. Can you guys let me know if that is still true? Because it did seem like Nat was the target, but the way the show is portraying this, it seems like it is James. So guys, let me know what you guys heard that I didn't hear during the weekend. And I'm just like, what the F, James? Like, you were 100% sure that both of you were safe, and now you're just like, it is what it is. But pretty much like Natalie said, they got played. Natalie's upset that she lost the HOH competition, and if she wins the veto, she's going to use it on James. Natalie says in the game she feels alone without James, and James tries his best to encourage her. Then we get to that whole Corey saying Harry Potter in his sleep thing. Then James tells Natalie, you're not obligated to like me back, and Natalie says she dates for personality, and James is literally, or would be, the first Asian guy that she has dated. And I'm just like, I am not 100% sure about Natalie and James' showmance, but to me it doesn't seem real. Stranger things have happened, but to me it just feels like Natalie's kind of using James to get further in the game. I'm not sure what's going on between those two. Nicole confronts Corey and basically says that she's upset that he won the whole half situation and he did not try hard to win the HOH, and she says it shows how cocky they are and they could be put up. And at that point I was just like, I kind of hoped they would be put up, but then again I already knew who was nominated, so there was no point in me hoping or even expressing any modicum of wishful thinking at that point. So James talked to Victor and spilled the tea on Nicole and Corey and said that he and Natalie had a final 4 deal with Nicole and Corey, which explains why he didn't give Victor that vote. Because remember, James was a swing vote, and I was hoping that he would vote out Corey, but instead he voted out Victor, which is why they're in the situation, James and Natalie, that they're in at this point. So Victor wants to know if that final 4 deal happened before or after Paulie left, and it happened after. Victor says he's all about loyalty, and unfortunately, James and Natalie are only loyal when it's convenient, and then they jump ship. So James reveals that Natalie wanted to keep Victor, which she did, and she tried her best, her very best, to convince James to keep Victor, and James wouldn't do it because he was so blindly loyal to Nicole. And then out of the blue, Nicole and Corey walk in the middle of the conversation that was had between Victor with Paul listening and James. Everything goes quiet. So pretty much James leaves. Victor talks about taking a shower or something. And once James is gone, that's when Paul reveals everything that James said to him and Victor. And Nicole says, you know, it wasn't really a Final Four deal. I'm just like, yeah, it was, Nicole. You're not really a good liar. And Victor says that Final Four deal is water under the bridge. And they realized, I'm trying to remember if it was Victor or Paul, but one of them said that James was trying to keep Nat off of the block and trying to make sure that either Nicole or Corey went on the block. Nicole says, oh my goodness, they are dirty, which I'm just like, if that's not the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, James said that he pretty much sealed his fate so that Natalie could stay. He's talking to Natalie, and Natalie tells him that she can't play in Big Brother without him. She doesn't know how to play the game without him. And I'm just like, you know, Natalie could play the game without him. I mean, these players have not seen Natalie get down and dirty, and if they decide to vote out James, they better hope that Natalie doesn't pull out an HOH win. Because maybe the next HOH competition won't be a physical one. Maybe it'll be a mental one, and maybe Natalie win that one. But anyway, it's time for nominations. James and Natalie are put up on the block next to each other. Natalie is said to be a sweet girl who's a pawn, and Victor hopes that she gets the veto and that she doesn't go home on a mistake like he did. If that's not shady, I don't know what is. Victor was throwing some major shade. Major. And Victor just flat out tells James, listen, you were the deciding vote to kick me out, and I hope you go home. Just like, all right. Throwing punches. He's not holding back. And this is about the time in the Big Brother season 18, as it relates to other seasons, when the players stop being nice and start really, really playing this game. Natalie's upset because she said that she trusted the wrong people, and she's really depressed. Nicole's so excited because Paul and Victor stayed true to their word, and she and Corey must win the veto. Paul is happy, and he said he hopes that your boy wins the veto so that he can have his revenge on James and Natalie, like Victor had his revenge on James and Natalie by nominating them. And Victor feels great because he's getting a second chance to evict the person who evicted him. Victor also said in regards to James that karma sucks. It is what it is. And Victor hopes that James enjoys his last week in the Big Brother house. And James basically says to us, Natalie told him to vote out Corey and he voted out Victor. All of this is his fault. It is. And he said something about a Texas code, and I'm probably paraphrasing when I said it, but when you do something wrong, you have to make it right. So if James wins the veto, he's going to use it to take down Natalie. But unfortunately, I know who won the veto, and that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who doesn't know. Am I surprised that James was nominated? No, because the same thing happened to him in season 17, because he backstabbed quite a few people during that season, and he ended up getting voted out, and the same thing is about to happen. Unless, of course, everybody in the house decides that they want Natalie out over him, but as far as what I saw during this episode, it appeared that Paul said he wanted to see how Natalie would play this game without James. I honestly hope that when James goes, Natalie pulls out an HOH win and she manages to nominate Nicole and Corey and somehow, some way gets Nicole out of the house, because both Nicole and Corey are pretty cocky. You know what, scratch that. I kind of want her to get Corey out of the house. The heck with Nicole. Get Corey out. Because if anyone cannot survive without someone in the game, it is Nicole without Corey. It is what it is. I'm not the biggest Nicole fan, so. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about this episode, who you want to win, and anything else that I have missed in regards to the feeds. You can definitely mention it down below. And for those of you that have not watched the feeds and you have no idea what happened as far as the veto and as far as conversations in the house, it's best that you not look in the comments, because there will probably be spoilers, or do your best to avoid said spoilers. I'm Sage Valentine. I will be back to do my review on Wednesday. It will be on time, and I will be doing my review on Thursday. So until next time, you all take care. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys. Bye.